Here's someone that never wanted to be a hero, spent years losing battle after battle as a shelter veterinarian. His heart couldn't handle it anymore, and he was ready to quit.
And I was going to quit. I had rehearsed my resignation letter.
Yep, after everything he put into it, quit. Walk away with no plan. But then one day on a sidewalk, one man and one dog changed everything.
I just stepped over to the man and I introduced myself. I'm Kwane, I'm a vet, and it looks like your dog has a chronic case of fleas.
Fleas. Only a $3 treatment. So he set out on a mission with no cameras, no nonprofit funding him, just a guy who put it all on the line to provide small acts of kindness to those who needed it in their darkest hours.
He just looked up at me with tears in his eyes and he said, "Thank you for not ignoring me."
That one sentence flipped his world upside down. And later in this story, he shares the parts he's never said out loud.
I had ignored him.
And maybe that's why the next part, like a superhero in the night, happened quietly.
I didn't talk about the street vet work for 6 years.
6 years. Not putting it on social media, no fundraising, no applause, just sidewalks, backpacks, dogs, and people who needed someone.
Can Cora have a treat?
But after you watch this, the secret will be out by how helping others doesn't just save lives, it can save yours. And it certainly saved his.
It's not a serious episode, but I can tell you, like, it's really neat. It's really heartfelt. Like, Dr. Kwane Stewart, who is our guest,
otherwise known as the Street Vet.
his nonprofit foundation, Project Street Vet, is pretty amazing. He's pretty amazing. I think you're going to really love this conversation. So much to the point where I think we should just jump into it because some of the things he shared are really neat.
Yeah.
And some of it's a little hard. It's a little heartbreaking, but there are also some really neat stories where he's winning and they're having a lot of success. And so stick around for that. Make sure you subscribe. A lot of you are watching this and you're commenting, "I didn't even realize I wasn't subscribed to the new Dogs and Coffee channel." So subscribe because it helps, because the more you subscribe, the more it serves it up to other people. And then we can feature the adoptable dog, which stick around because we have a really adorable adoptable dog. And anyone who's joining and becoming a member, we're using those fees to cover the adoption fee for the adoptable dog. Okay, let's welcome Dr. Kwane Stewart, veterinarian, CNN, Hero of the Year, Project Street Vet, an amazing guy and friend,
Author.
let's find out his coffee order, and meet his amazing dog.
Cora.
I will tell you, you are one of our most requested guests.
Really?
Oh, yeah. People love you, and they say, like, "Oh, yeah, he's not far from you either." But I think they think you're just walking around downtown all of the time.
Maybe I am.
Yeah, maybe you are, right? The show is about dogs and coffee. It could be about cats too, because we want to encompass and all small pet.
Okay.
Do you do large animal too?
No.
Okay, so also
Out of my
small.
wheelhouse. Yeah.
Okay, but why don't we start by getting you a cup of coffee? Well, what do you want? What would you like?
I'm not a coffee
Okay,
guy for the most
that's right.
part.
We've talked about this.
Right. So I don't know coffee well. So to get me through vet school, it was just black coffee.
Like, yeah, same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
Just straight black coffee.
Good. I was hoping. If you were gonna be like, I'd love a caramel macchiato. I'm gonna be like, oh no.
I don't even know what that is, man. I can't even pronounce that. It doesn't matter what it is. You'll go back there and make it.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
It might not be what it actually turns out.
well, that's why I'm glad I'm ordering just straight
Yeah.
black coffee.
Well, no, I'm kidding. We already pre-made the black coffee.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
If you want to be tested,
No. I don't. I want to look at. Well, hold on. She might test me. What?
I'm good with black coffee.
I'm gonna step away and do
We
that
always
before you
drink
guys
what our
get
guest
creative.
is
Oh, do you?
drinking, so
Really?
that we can share the experience together if he epically fails.
what's the most unusual requests or most difficult?
Kim Whitley, amazing comedian. She wanted. What did she order? I can't remember. But
Vodka.
yeah, she wanted vodka, but we didn't have it.
Yeah, we said sorry.
But yeah, she was funny, and I think I've nailed each one.
Well, you've had a little help.
I can phone in at a barista.
Is there someone back there?
Okay, well, while he's pouring that cup of coffee, we have a fun little trivia game for you.
All right.
Some of these are easy. Some of them, we'll see what comes. But I will say the majority of our guests do not get these right.
We like to warm you up with just making sure you get everything wrong.
Sometimes it's like, what celebrity had what kind of dog? And you're like, how would I know that?
Okay.
Okay?
So you're not going to test me with vet questions?
No.
If you were going to ask me vet questions, I will invariably get it wrong when I'm on the
Yeah.
spot.
We specifically aren't because, that's not fair, because then it's like,
You're like, let me pull
It's
out
a
my
setup.
textbook.
it's a setup.
Yeah. So this is all in good fun. Okay, so which competition is a timed obstacle course with jumps, tunnels, and contacts. And it's multiple choice, unless if you just know the answer. Okay, A, agility, B, lure coursing, or C, a rally.
Agility.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
I get my coffee.
Got one.
yeah.
You get coffee.
Handlers direct the dogs through the course in real time. Faults are given for knocked bars or missed contact zones. Answered agility. And a fun fact is the first public agility demonstration happened at Crufts in 1978. And the crowd reaction was so strong that it became a full competitive sport within 2 years.
That doesn't seem like that long ago.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't.
I mean, what? That's like 50?
I thought you were going to say like 1868 or
Right?
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where is that,
Okay. I'll
sweetie?
just take this. Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers. Yes. Yes.
Welcome. Yeah. Oh, it's pretty hot.
Well, I don't know if I can drink this. Who made this?
Hey.
You want a refund?
Yeah. We will give you a full refund. Whatever you paid for it, no problem.
I have to say real quick, the funniest coffee scene in any movie I've seen is it was with Robert Downey Jr.
Okay.
This will be your test question.
Okay.
And Zach Galifianakis.
Okay.
Do you recall those two together? What movie that may have been?
I'm not ready to be tested.
Oh, okay.
This is
All
a
right.
real like switcheroo here.
So they paired up for a comedy. I thought it was hilarious.
what
I think it was way underrated.
I'm thinking like,
They travel the country together
okay,
in a car, and I think Zach just plays the same character.
anything with
Anything
every
he's doing,
Yeah.
I'm immediately like, yeah, I'm in.
And Robert Downey was kind of like witty, but do you have any idea of the name of the movie? You know when we were
no
talking
idea.
about
What
it?
is this?
It was called Due Date.
Oh.
Due Date. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. Underrated, funny, but there's a scene with coffee, and Zach is traveling across the country with his dad's cremains in a
Okay.
coffee jar. It's just something his character would do.
Yeah.
And they stop off at a friend's house on the way, and the friend makes the coffee with the cremains, and it's a whole thing. Anyways,
That's funny.
question number 2. I'm ready.
In Canine Aquatics, which event is judged solely on the horizontal distance of the dog's jump?
Oh,
A, big air, B, air retrieve, or C, extreme vertical.
so these are the dock divers?
These are the ones that jump off the platform as far as
Yeah,
they can.
so it's judged solely on the horizontal distance.
Yeah,
That's the
it's like a long jump for.
No, which event? What's it called? Is it
Oh.
called big air, air retrieve, or extreme vertical?
I thought it was like dock diving or,
I'm gonna say air retrieve.
I'll give you a hint. No targets or bumpers are involved, and the score is a distance in measurement, not height.
I don't know. I've never heard of this. I only know of dock diver.
I don't either. It's A, big air.
It's big. It's called big air. Okay.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
I feel like I've seen it, but they just leap off a platform as far as
Yeah.
they can, and they.
It says that they routinely jump 20 to 30 plus feet, and many handlers train using swim outs.
Hmm.
So,
That's
Okay.
next level.
All right.
yeah. All right. Well,
When people find out that you're a veterinarian, are they immediately asking you a question about their pet?
Yes.
That's really hard to diagnose because it's like, oh, they got this bump like on the left side. Like, do they do those sort of things?
They do that. Well, it's a mix of things.
Okay.
First, I have to confess something. I don't even tell people I'm a vet anymore.
Okay. Yeah.
So I conceal that, and I do. And,
Yeah.
out of vet school, it's like I was so proud, and
Yes.
I remember buying my first suit out of vet school. I had to go to my best friend's wedding in Germany.
Okay.
So I went to Nordstrom's, and I was going to get myself like a new suit. And he said, very professional, thank you today. Thank you for coming in, Mr. Stewart.
Yeah.
I said, no, actually, it's Dr. Stewart.
Yeah. Yeah.
How pretentious. I look back like, what an a-hole. But I said, no, it's actually doctor. He said, oh, doctor. I said, yeah, I'm a veterinarian. I just got out of school about 6 months ago. And I was proud to say it all the
Yeah.
time.
Yes.
I don't tell anybody now.
No, you can't.
In fact, I tell people, are you ready for it?
Yes.
That I'm a window washer. And then they go, what? A window? I was like, yeah, but a professional one. I'm the one on the pulley system you see on high-rise buildings.
Oh, that's funny.
And then I have like a whole thing that I go into
Yeah.
where they just basically they start to turn away because they're tired of hearing me
It's
talk,
so
which is
boring.
exactly what I want. But if they know I'm a vet, then they pull out their phone and it's on the home screen, and then they
Yes.
have questions, and my dog does this. But I've seen probably 60,000 dogs in my career now, and I've heard 60,000 stories. So if I'm at a dinner party, I just want to drink my margarita
Yeah.
sometimes.
That's right. I'd say the only thing maybe harder is an auto mechanic because then people are giving you the sounds. Like, yeah, my car, my car's like.
No, I get that too, but
You get
yeah.
that too.
like barks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my dog's barking like this. How's she doing?
She's great.
She's doing good.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's awesome. And just scratching her ears and her head.
Can you tell us about Cora?
it's somewhat tied to a sad story. I got Cora from my old shelter, and I was a shelter vet for 5 years, about midway through my career. So this was like 2007 to 2012.
Okay. This was in Modesto?
This is in Modesto, so Central Valley, California, and it was right over during the recession. It timed out perfectly over the recession. So it was just a bad time to be a shelter vet.
Yeah.
We were a municipality, and already a struggling one at that, where people have to understand, for municipalities, you can just drop off your dog, no questions asked.
Right.
And I don't know that everybody, we're getting more and more used to like the no kill,
There's a
but
big difference.
there's a big difference. We don't call them pounds anymore, but this is like an old school pound.
Right.
It's like, can't take care of my dog. You don't even have to say anything. You can just go and literally drop your leash at the doorstep, and it becomes our responsibility. So during the recession, people were just dropping dogs off, by the dozens. When people are suffering and can't pay for bills, well, then it trickles down to the dog. So I stepped into this role. I'd never done it before. I don't know why I chose it. I was working in Southern Cal, loving life, and I took on this big thing, this challenge. And it was about 2 years into it, I just thought, I can't do this anymore. We were euthanizing, people are going to hate to hear this number, but we were euthanizing close to 50 dogs and cats by 10 a.m. every morning
Wow.
during peak season, during kitten season, which is the spring.
Yeah.
And it was just tough, man. So I could go into a lot more. It's actually how the street vet was born.
Yeah.
He was actually that was his origin story, was from that shelter. But I left at exactly 5 years,
Okay.
5 years to the day.
Yep.
I hung on because that's when my pension vested, and I wanted to be able to take a little something from it. I was still paying student loans and everything.
Yep.
So to the day, 5 years, I left, and I never went back until a few years ago. It was during COVID. I stepped back into the old shelter, and I just wanted to see like the old crew and who made it, who survived.
Was anyone there?
Yeah, there were still a few people, a handful of people that I had worked with many years before. And I walked in and I said, look, I'm here to see you guys. I'm not here to adopt a dog. I'm just
Right.
telling you.
Okay.
And they're like, let me show you
Yeah,
what.
no, they had it down. I mean, we used to train them on this. Like, okay, I know. And they kind of placate to me. But then let me just show you like what we've done with the
You
place.
even knew the playbook and you fell for it?
Yeah, and I fell for it, man. I walked by her cage, and she was a puppy. She was maybe 6 months old. And I walked past the cage, and I came back, and they saw me looking.
Yeah.
And at the shelter, you pull the cage card, and then you walk up to the front.
Okay.
And you say, I want to adopt this dog.
Okay.
And they start the paperwork and the process. But when the adoption is final, they ring a bell, like da 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 da, and we kind of celebrate. And then secretly, myself and my technicians in the back go, sucker.
Yeah.
In a good way, right? We got one, but we got a good one. And I was the sucker there. I know they were back there saying sucker, but I saw her face, and I just thought,
Yeah.
So I would love to go through your origin story, because if you're watching, you can see Dr. Kwane Stewart here, and he is handsome and buff and smart and a veterinarian, and he's got a German Shepherd dog. Thank the Lord he's married, or we would have an uprising with our fans.
oh no,
Um,
oh no.
I read your book when it first came out. I was really impressed with your book, and especially because of and I told you this before, the vulnerability that you had in your book. And so in your book, you talk about growing up and how you got on this path, because I think a lot of people look at you and say, well, yeah, but it's easy. Like, he gets to go out and do this, and he gets to work with pets all the time, and like, he's just a natural at this, and like, it comes easy to him. But when you hear your origin story, you realize the journey that you had to take to get to where you're at right now. And my first question for you would be, what were you like as a kid?
As a kid. I don't want to draw this out too long, because this could be that moment where it's like, let me show you my summer vacation, pictures from my summer vacation. That's what we're going to do tonight, family.
Hey,
like-
we're ready. But I think especially now, having the lens to see your kids as a father, like you kind of see your kids and you go, okay, well, they're a little bit like this, or they're a little bit like that. Like, one of our kids is definitely better with pets than the other kid is. And so, like, as a kid, did you know, like, where you go, I'm going to work with animals, or like, this is who I want to be?
I think for a lot of veterinarians, if you ask them, because it is such an emotionally based career path, profession that pulls you in,
Okay.
that a lot of us will tell you, there was probably like one lightning rod moment that we had. And for me, we were living in Texas, in Brownsville, Texas, and there was this injured golden retriever running through our neighborhood. and it looked like her, she had been in a dog fight potentially, and you could kind of see the shiny cartilage, the glistening shiny like
Okay.
the hair from her, the fur from her ear had been pulled down
Ooh.
somehow, ripped off.
Yeah.
And I could just see like this glistening part of her ear, and she was scared and timid and in pain. She was running, sort of dodging from house to house, and I was 7 at the time. And I remember just chasing her through the neighborhood and then going to my parents and saying, I want to find this dog and help this dog. And my mom, it's like, oh, she was probably just running. She got out of the yard. Her parents will find her and she'll be fine. But I was so concerned. I went to bed the first night. I just didn't sleep much. And the next night I went out, or after school, went out looking for her, and then went to bed crying that night. And then I spotted her 3 days later, still darting around the neighborhood.
Mm.
And I was just fixated for a week. And my mom pulled me out of school one day early so we could just go drive the neighborhood and search for her because I just wouldn't let it go.
Okay.
And I was just stuck on this dog. And my mom will tell me now that's the moment she knew what I was going to do.
Okay.
Is just showing the concern and the empathy for this dog, this animal. She confesses now she lied to me about the results or the outcome.
Oh, no.
Because I wouldn't let it go. She said she heard the dog was found. And because I went on,
yeah.
this is searching out for like 8, 9 days. I would just go and search for this dog in the evening. It was getting dark. My mom would come out and call for me. And so all that to say, that's, I think, when she knew. And very soon after, that's when I sort of knew. And then I saw the black stallion right around the same time.
Oh.
And I walked out, and she said that's when I announced to her and the world that I'm going to be a vet. And I was about 7.5 at the time.
Wow.
So your love for animals, would you say, came from your mom?
Yeah, I would. My mom, it definitely wasn't my dad.
Okay.
My dad is old school Southern black guy,
Okay.
wasn't raised with dogs. And, I'll just say this very transparently. A lot of black people in the South have a checkered past with dogs. If you go back 75, 100 years.
Yep.
And the stories get passed down, and it's one of the reasons it's just not as common to see black families in the South own dogs. And my dad told me the same. He's like, we weren't raised with dogs. My grandfather used to tell me stories about what happened to him. And so my dad wasn't much of a dog lover, and we were fine with that.
Yep.
He wasn't opposed to us getting dogs. My
Right.
mom always had pets around.
Yeah, I never would have thought about that, obviously, a white guy. And I think it is interesting to see the relationship that people have with dogs based off just historically with their families and and if you're a kid and you're raised with dogs, the way you are around dogs, you're just drastically different than if you've never had a dog. So
And the way that generational trauma kind of continues on.
yeah,
It's not just with one, it's those stories then get passed down and it affects people for.
Yeah, passed down, sometimes embellished, but they're like urban legends
Mhm.
sometimes with these stories that are told, at least from my father's side.
yeah. So when did you get your first dog?
Before I remember, so we did have pets, you
That's
started
good.
to sort of have these concrete memories, maybe around 5,
Yeah.
6.
Yeah.
But it was even before that. The first one I remember was Irish setter, and I was 8, and I got to pick her out.
Those are cool dogs.
Yeah, she was a great dog.
When you first started working in the shelter and then pivoted that to working on the streets, what was that moment that you made that pivot? What was the light that you kind of said, this is the group of people that I want to help?
All right, this is the origin story.
Okay.
This is my Batman story.
Okay.
Because Batman was the other thing I wanted to be when I was a kid.
Okay.
That didn't quite work out, but I figured.
Well, there's still hope.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm still working on that. I'm working on the $1 billion part.
That's what I'm
first.
saying. You have some time.
Then I can become the superhero.
Have you bought any Bitcoin? Because maybe.
I'm going to do that when I get out of here.
Yeah.
I was, so I was 2 years, so the shelter, going back to the shelter, I was 2 years in,
Mhm.
and I was going to quit. And I had rehearsed my resignation letter, what I was going to say to the director this one morning. I was sitting outside 7-Eleven. It was my pattern actually to go in and get coffee.
Okay.
7-Eleven coffee. So again, I'm not an aficionado by any means. Don't judge.
Hey,
Whatever's
I'll swing
convenient.
through a McDonald's drive-through. I'm not above it.
I go in and get my 7-Eleven coffee. I go to work. And I was sitting in my car stone-faced because I was just trying to think through carefully what I was going to tell Annette, the director of the shelter. And know that before my arrival, this shelter did not have a vet for 3 years. And they struggled. So they would sort of contract, pull in a vet here or there one day a week, do some spays and neuters, do some treatments, and leave again. And so there was never any consistency. And that's why their numbers were so horrible. They had some of the worst euthanasia numbers in the entire country at this shelter.
Wow.
So when I stepped in full time and started working with the staff, designing programs, like we were starting to make progress and headway.
Right.
But it was inside it was just killing a part of me to keep going in and doing the euthanasias and directing staff. And I'm the one who basically decides which pet lives and you know this, which one is going to stay with us and which one
Mhm.
is not.
And that, I'm sure, has to weigh on you
Every day.
heavily.
Every day, 30, 40, 50 pets.
Yeah.
It's my decision. And I'm just going through with a red pen saying, you'd mark an X on the one that wasn't going to stay.
Mhm.
And I just couldn't do it after 2 years.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting at 7-Eleven. I go in to get my coffee. I walk out, and sitting right outside the storefront was this homeless man, this unhoused gentleman with his dog, sitting right outside the storefront to my left. And when you've been a vet for long enough, you just start diagnosing. You just look at a dog from afar and you say, oh, that dog has, this dog had flea allergic dermatitis. We call it FAD, which is just a bad case of fleas.
Okay.
It's just chronic fleas. But when dogs, again, some of you guys probably know, when they have fleas long enough and bad enough, it does destroy the skin.
Right.
And this dog looked like a burn victim on its hind end.
Yikes.
So no hair, the skin was red and bumpy. And I just stepped over to the man and I said, introduced myself. I'm a Kwane, I'm a vet. And it looks like your dog has chronic case of fleas. And he's like, I don't know what she has, but she's miserable. I'm miserable. And he was just desperate for help. And I could see it in his eyes. So I said, look, if you're here tomorrow, I'll return with something that should work. So that took me back to the shelter. I did not quit because as I admit now, I stole a $3 flea treatment from the shelter. I used to say, for the longest time, I said it was $3 out of my pocket and 5 more minutes of my time.
But now you decided.
I stole the flea treatment.
But you could probably send him a check for $3.
I could. I don't know what the interest on that is today, 10 years later, but I think they're fine with it. It was just a little Capstar. It was just a little oral treatment that kills fleas on the spot. Saw that same guy next day. I treated the dog. Then I didn't see him for about 12 days. And again, a week and a half later, he was outside the 7-Eleven and walked up to him and the dog was already transformed.
Wow.
The hair was coming back. The infection was gone.
$3.
$3. And again, just literally 5 minutes of my time.
Yeah.
And the man sitting in the same spot, he just looked up at me with tears in his eyes. And he said, thank you for not ignoring me. And I remember I got a little emotional and I took a knee right next to him. And we had this moment and I made him this quiet little pledge. I said, I'm going to go out and find more people like you. And that was 15 years ago. And I just started walking the streets.
If he only knew, you know?
Yeah, that was the moment that started all this. And I will put a cap on this. I will tell you, I ended up staying at the shelter for 3 more years because of that event. And I was so motivated to try and make a difference, realizing how precious the time that I give or that I had given to the shelter can make such a huge difference. Talking about the 5-minute calculation. So I'm going to stay on a little longer. And in that time, we cut the euthanasia rate by 70%. We tripled the adoption rate. We built a brand new state-of-the-art shelter. It's probably the proudest moment of my career. I left 5 years later, like I said. And again, a number that you know, and I want anyone listening to know. When you work in a shelter, you are judged based on something called your live release rate. So that means dogs come in, what percentage of dogs walk out alive, live release rate. Our live release rate at the time when I arrived at that shelter in 2007 was 37%.
Oh,
Wow.
That's so bad.
That means more than 70% of the animals that walk through the door
Don't make it.
don't make it.
Well, that's where people get you can't take your dog to the shelter. They won't come out. And statistically in that situation, yes, they would.
And back during the recession, this part of the state, Modesto, as you know, already suffers economically. It's just a bad part of the state.
Yep.
37%. When I left, it was just over 70%. And now today it is 95%.
Wow.
It is considered no kill.
That's incredible. And I don't think people realize how incredible that is, especially at the volume of the amount of pets that go through there. Do you know how many pets are coming in like a month? Thousands?
Yeah, the annual census was around 23,000.
Yeah, that's tremendous. A lot of times, like a shelter will say, we have a live release rate of that 95%, but they might only have 50 pets coming in a month too. So at that volume, at that percentage.
And not only that, for those that they sort of establish their rescue or shelter as a no-kill.
Yes.
They're usually pulling from shelters and selecting the dogs they sometimes bring in. So sometimes, not always, sometimes they're taking the best of the best. They're taking the most adoptable. Again, at the municipality, we take whatever. These are dogs that are irredeemable for bites. They're sick. They have parvo. So you take that population of dogs out and you still have a live release of 95% at a municipal shelter. That
It's amazing.
That is impressive. Even I walked in, that's when I got Cora, and they said, today, you know, our live release rate, it blew me away. I was so happy for them in the shelter. And I said, you know what? Because you guys are doing such a good job, I'm going to adopt a dog. That was not the plan, but I'm
Yeah.
going to adopt a dog. And here we are.
Yeah, it's neat how, like, I think that little bit of hope, that moment gave you so much wind in your sails. Like, to think you were gonna go in and quit, and then just that moment of hope just fueled you for so long, right? It's pretty cool. I always say, like, if you leave a little space for hope, it'll fill a room, you know? And that's you're a perfect testament of that.
One last tale on the whole street vet origin. One, you should know that that man that I saw, size 7'11", I'd seen him 5 times before, and I'd walked right by him.
Huh.
But for whatever reason on that day, my mindset, I stepped over and I talked to him. And so when he said, thank you for not ignoring me, that's why it hit home or hit hard, is because I had ignored him before. And I don't know if you knew that or not,
Right.
but I had him and his dog. I had just blown right by, too busy with my day and what I had to do. And the other part is I didn't talk about the street vet work for 6 years. So from 2012, when I started doing it to almost 2017, I didn't tell a soul.
You were just out there doing it.
I didn't tell my partner. I didn't tell my kids. I didn't tell my mother.
Why do you think that is?
I've been asked that question. I've given it a lot of thought, and I think if I'm just being completely honest, I was carrying a lot of guilt for my days at the shelter, and I thought maybe this was a way to redeem myself. And so it wasn't about attention and I didn't want to be discouraged either. I didn't want to be at a dinner party and have someone say, so Kwan, what are you doing in your free time? And I say, I kind of go out and I walk the streets. I look for homeless and treat their pets, and have them say, well, why would you enable them? They shouldn't have
Right.
pets. Why would you? I just didn't want to hear that.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was my little weekend mission, and I just went out and did it.
Do you think also it was kind of like if you told people about it, you kind of had to face the fact that you were trying to right the scales? You know, like obviously this was not your fault that all these euthanizations were happening. And what do you do? And now you're out here doing the good. But if you talk about it, then it's almost like you have to face the fact that you're going,
Yeah.
I'm trying to save all these dogs because I'm trying to balance the scales.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't want to be faced with any questions, and
Yeah.
I just wasn't prepared. Like I said, if I was being judged in the eyes of God for my 5 years at the shelter, I felt like I was probably losing on that scorecard. And there was just a part of me that thought, you're just going to go out and help the pets that would never get help.
Yeah.
Maybe you can balance the scales.
Well, thank the Lord. Here comes social media. And okay, yeah. So how did it happen? Because I'll tell you that I still very much so remember the first time I saw you on social media, because we were living in Venice, California, and we had just had a baby, and there was a homeless person in the alley just screaming and yelling, swinging at us with golf clubs, and we were like, our dogs were going crazy, and we're like, what do we do? You know, and we were so frustrated and so upset. And then I'm watching a video of you going out and helping these folks, and I'm like, oh, I'm conflicted because I am angry right now and I'm in dad mode and I'm protective. And I'm also going, yeah, how do I help? You know, so many of the homeless people on the streets have pets, and I believe in pets, and I believe in that bond between people and pets. And we've been near homeless so many times, and then I'm struggling with this. And I just remember just like, just
Did he have
being,
a pet?
oh, no, he did not. No,
Okay.
we had a pet at the time. And I remember through the fence, he would be like, you know, like he loved animals, you know, but that when he wasn't just off, you know, off on drugs and stuff. But I think he would have had a pet if he would have had the ability or the opportunity.
wherewithal.
Yeah, exactly.
So people ask, are you ever afraid, or do you feel intimidated on the streets? And the answer is no, by and large, no.
Yeah.
Because the one thing you have to keep in mind is the people on the streets who have pets have to have it together enough to care for this pet, meaning they have to get up in the morning and feed it and do all the things that we do with our pets. And if you're heavily addicted to drugs or so mentally ill, see, when I tell people, it's not the guy like holding up his pants, shouting at the cars.
Right.
He doesn't have a pet because he doesn't have it together enough to even own a pet. So the people that I help, they typically, you know, they're lucid, they're friendly, they're always grateful. We have conversations. It's not to say they're not doing some sort of illicit drug or drinking heavily, you know, to cope, who knows.
Yeah.
But they're usually just, pretty normal people.
If you're listening to this on the video, we're showing Dr. Kwan going out and helping some of these folks, and just I think one thing that's really neat with them is you do see them and you are present with them. Do you have any stories that you'd want to share of someone that's been impactful recently? Like, when's the last time you went out and did Project Street Vet?
Last week. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Any stories sitting in the top of your mind from last week?
No, last week was actually pretty routine.
Okay.
But
For
I guess
you,
routine. I
routine.
mean, for
yeah,
me,
I'm like, wait
Yeah.
a second.
if you guys came out, you'd be like, "Oh, this is
I would love
amazing."
to come with you sometime.
Yeah, you're right. What's routine to me for some is it feels like earth shattering. I remember I took a journalist out with me who writes for the AP
Okay.
nationally. She's a very big writer for the AP, and she wanted to do a big story on me. So I actually went to Oakland.
Okay.
I flew to Oakland, where
Yep.
she was based, and we walked the streets in Oakland. I'd never walked the streets in this neighborhood of Oakland, and she was just blown away that I would just march into an encampment to a place I had never been.
Yeah.
That she said I would never cross. I would never have just walked within 20
Right.
feet of this area. And I just go in and I'm a Kwane, I'm a vet. I see a pet. I walk up. I start talking. I remember what she said to me was pretty profound. It was cool. At the end of the day, she said, that was one of the best days of my life.
Wow.
And she's been writing for 30 years,
Right.
all kinds of
Seen
stories.
amazing people and yeah.
But the way I approach people and the gratitude and sometimes the tears and the hugs and seeing the pets and
Right.
knowing they're getting help. Yeah, it's so again, that was just a routine day for me. But
Okay.
to her, it was something she'd just never seen.
What is the most common medical issue among the pets that you treat on the street?
This is so common in California. So anyone who's listening who has a pet in this area, or really nationwide more and more, especially during the summer, it's skin and ear issues.
Okay.
Okay.
It's dermatologic. So it's allergies, it's itchy dogs. People who don't know should know that if you have an allergic dog, so a dog, I'm going to drop some medical veterinary knowledge on you. If you have a dog that is chewing and biting their feet or taking their hind legs and sort of scratching their flanks or doing that like really quick, like flea nibble on
Okay.
their legs
Yeah.
or parts of their body, it's usually an allergy.
Okay.
And the most common secondary symptom we see to allergies in dogs is ear infections. So sometimes you may see a little biting and chewing on your dog, but when you see these recurring ear infections, so you lift the ear, it has this odor or seems red or has a gunk in it,
Yep.
Yeah.
that is almost always secondary to an underlying allergy. You treat the allergy, you stop seeing the ear infections. So to answer your question, that is what I actually see most common in the streets. And in my kit, I'm able to treat those pretty effectively.
And is that the same across pets that you would see like in an office setting? Is it different than office versus on the street?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's the same.
It's the same.
It's the same. These allergies are airborne allergies.
Yep.
So we call it atopy, atopic dermatitis. You would, as a human, you'd call it hay fever.
Okay.
So it's something in the air we're breathing in, something pollinating, a grass, a pollen. You breathe it in, and then it stimulates your skin to start itching. And the dogs, anyways, for us, we get upper respiratory signs such as runny nose and sneezing.
Itchy eyes and
Mhm.
yeah. Okay. What you're doing is controversial. I don't think it should be, but I think it often is. Do you see that? Like, do you see the comments of people of what people are saying? I mean, because maybe you have to stay out of the comments because I see some of them and I'm not even doing what you're doing where people go, you should be helping people or, it's like, I don't know. Tell me more.
I don't get a lot of that.
Okay. That's good.
And
Yeah.
that's good. And I think, andD like to say it's because over the years I've been doing this, I'm starting to educate or turn the tide a little bit so people
I
understand
think that's right.
more and more that they are, for the most part, very good pet parents or pet owners,
Okay.
dog owners. I see about 95% dogs on the streets, maybe a few cats.
Okay.
It's mostly dogs. For the most part, they're really good dog owners. They're short on resources,
Mm-hmm.
but when I tell people the stories, because it's happened many times, of the guy who gives his lunch to his dog, the same guy who hasn't eaten in 24 hours, but he takes his sandwich. And this actually played out just like this one day. Saw this guy, treated his dog. He casually says to me, it's been like a day and a half, 2 days since I've eaten. Not expecting anything.
Right.
It was just in conversation. He said it's been almost 2 days since he's eaten. I went and got a sandwich. It's time for me to eat. So I came out with a sandwich for him and for me. He tore off a piece of the bread. I thought he was going to give to his dog.
Yeah.
He tore it off. He ate that little, it was a sub sandwich. He ate the corner of the bread and he gave the entire sandwich to his dog.
Yeah.
And you just don't see that typically with traditional pet owners, right? People that I see in the clinic. So the love, the loyalty that you see, the bond between these folks, it's unmatched. I don't see it in a traditional clinic setting. And the other thing I will tell you is when it comes to abuse or neglect cases,
Yeah.
Because that's what people will throw at me.
Yep.
Right.
Well, it looks like they're breeding these dogs. It
Right.
looks like they're abusing them. They're chained up all the time. I think that's sensationalized a little bit
Yes.
for people that are trying to cast a black eye on these folks that live in the streets with their dogs. I don't know that anyone's been in the streets more than I have consistently as a vet.
Yep.
And I can tell you that's not what I see.
That's funny because Kelly and I, we talk about you behind your back. And and you know what? I think one thing we really respect you for is you're doing the work. You're out there doing the work. We talk with a lot of guests that say, here's what I think, or I've been thinking through this a lot, or here's what I'm seeing, or here's what the numbers tell us. And which is great, we need that also. But yeah, you're out there doing the work. And so that's why I think it's really neat to hear from you, because if someone says, well, it's like this, okay, but you can tell us how it actually is because you're out there seeing it, you know?
And not just me. Now that we're in 6 different cities. So
Oh, are you really? Okay.
Yeah. What cities?
Yeah, we're in Orlando, Atlanta, New York. They're all coastal cities 'cause
Okay.
that's where our homeless issue is strongest.
Right.
So East Coast, those 3 cities. And then on the West Coast where we live, it's San Diego, LA, and then the Bay Area.
Cool.
And so now it's not just me telling the stories, we're
Right.
sharing data.
Yep.
I mean, at one point it was sort of anecdotal when I would say, well, what I'm seeing, but now I have all my veterinarians collecting data, information, and it holds true. And so when I say this, and I say this emphatically, that I see more cases of abuse and neglect in a normal vet clinic. So you guys come to me, you're paying clients. In my 28 years, I've seen more cases of abuse and neglect in a clinic than I have in the streets.
Wow. Wow.
Let that sink in.
Yeah, you have to chew on that for a second. So
Yeah.
when people are telling me, no, they're abusing these dogs, they're chaining them. Yeah, that happens. That happens with
Sure.
people who own dogs.
Yeah.
I keep them chained up in the back of the yard. And
The person you never suspect.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. Who drives up in a nice car,
Yeah.
and then they come in, and this has happened, pulled up in a Mercedes. They walked in with their dog, and they said, there's some odor coming from my dog's neck. Bring the dog in. Within 30 seconds, I can see that this dog that was 6 months old, they placed a collar on it. The dog is now a year old, and the skin has grown around the collar.
Oh.
And when I took the collar off, I had to peel the collar off, and there was raw skin
Oh.
and an infection all the way around the dog's neck
they're
because
just-
they just never recognized, oh, I need to just change the loops on the collar. That's how much they ignored their dog. That would never happen to someone who owns a dog in the streets because they are tied, they're bound to that dog every day, and they know each other's movements. They almost talk shorthand.
Right.
And the best part of being a vet to pets in the streets, I will tell you, is as a vet, and this was taught to me by my professor very early on,
Okay.
the way that you diagnose issues is through the history. He told me that the answer to their problem is always in the history. The history is just the information that's shared by the owner. Or as a parent, you take your child in and the doctor's going to ask you, so what's been going on? What have you observed? Your child can't speak for themselves. You're going to say, well, he's been coughing for a week.
Okay.
He had a fever one night. The answer, the diagnosis is always in the history.
I
That's
see.
my professor taught me.
Okay.
I don't get a better history from any client than I do my people in the streets. They know everything about their pets, down to the day, sometimes down to the hour. He started scratching on this day. He's been itching for 3 days. The clients that come into my clinic, not all of them, but a good share of them, they come in the clinic. It's like, I think he maybe started scratching a week ago or 2.
Right.
Let me call my wife. And it's a guessing game. And I so appreciate when I'm there in the streets on a street corner doing the exam and they say, yeah, he's been doing it for this long and it let up on this day or he vomited yesterday, but he's not vomiting today. It is so helpful as a vet.
Because they're so in sync. They just
Yeah.
know.
Well, and the percent of their time that they're spending with their dog is significantly more, right?
To the point where I almost feel guilty. Like
Right.
they make me feel bad.
Right.
Like, oh, I'll go see Cora after 12 hours here when I get home.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she's waiting for the garage door to open.
She's a good girl.
Okay, so you've seen a lot of changes in this space, in this shelter space and pet ownership from the recession to COVID to now. It seems like, and you tell me because you see this a lot more, that pet ownership is becoming a luxury, almost unattainable for most families. And it seems like the shelter numbers are rising for very simple, what would seem like simple things. And people may not say this, or they may. I can't afford dog food this month. I can't afford, it's sneaky. They'll bring the dog in and the dog's sick and they know because they went to the vet and they got a diagnosis and it's $5,000 to fix that dog and they can't afford $5,000. And that just seems to be getting astronomically challenging. Are you seeing that?
Yeah. On a very big scale.
Okay.
And it's not just me seeing it. The numbers will tell you the same. And this is a census or data we've been collecting nationwide. It's just more and more prevalent. We're seeing more dogs in homes than we've ever seen. And I think that right? Population grows. Dogs are very popular in this country.
Yeah.
During COVID, we saw a huge spike. So more dogs are in more homes than ever before.
Okay.
But we're also seeing this huge disparity in wealth or income,
Yep.
as we all know.
Yeah.
And so it just takes like one thing to happen to your dog. And sometimes not even a significant thing.
Right.
Sometimes it can be just a really bad ear infection that takes you in, and the vet tells you, we're gonna have to sedate your dog and do the ear flush and send you home with medication and one injection, and that's $600. And
Yeah.
they're having to make a choice between making rent that month and then paying for this ear infection, which is very, very common. I will tell you, amongst my colleagues in my industry, we're having this conversation a lot, and we're trying to figure it out. There's no simple answer.
No, isn't it? Yeah.
We don't feel like we start stripping dogs from people,
Right.
or saying you shouldn't own a dog, but veterinarians are small business owners too.
Right.
They're trying to pay their staff, these technicians who, by the way, make like half of what nurses make. They're just trying to make a living. And so there's this trickle-down effect when pet parent can't pay, and then we're trying to pro bono or cut the costs. And so there's all these dynamics going on, and you're trying to be fair to both sides, but it's a hard one.
Because it does feel like nobody's winning, right? It doesn't feel like, a lot of times when there's a problem, you can point to it and you can go, that fancy car dealership is making bank and everyone else is broke. But in the pet space, the owner is broke and can't afford it. The veterinarian's not walking home going, oh yeah, I'm counting my bills. The pet insurance companies, they're going out of business. They're losing money because they're paying out all kinds of pet insurance. I don't know who's winning here, and I don't know what the solution
I will give you, that's not entirely true.
Okay.
I'm trying to softly say this.
Give it. That's good.
But to get into it, man, I'll just
Okay.
tell you, it's corporatized America.
Nah,
They are
they're the ones
somewhat,
making
if anyone's
money.
winning,
They are.
it's them.
I think, you know what? I think that you're probably right.
So is it PE going around purchasing all the private practices?
Yeah,
Veterinary.
that has happened at scale the past 10 years, gobbling up like VCA and Banfield. And so corporate America owns more veterinary practices now than they ever have. And they're very slick at running their
get you.
operations.
They get you. This happened with my soul dog, Flip. We went in, he had cancer, and we were going to try to radiate, and it was what, in his jaw?
Yeah, in his jaw.
And so we were going to try to radiate, and we thought it was over. Vet came in, sat us down, said, good news. We can probably radiate.
And give him a couple more years.
A couple more years.
Yeah.
Great, I'll do that. He said, we need to do a CT scan. 10 grand. And they found something in his brain. So within 2 weeks, he was gone. And I'm out 10 grand. That is, in no world does that make sense. And if I think we still owe some money on it. But
No.
did we pay it? I don't like.
Well, what was crazy was that wasn't even a consideration in the conversation. It wasn't like, hey, the rate at which this is advancing, it could be possible that it's somewhere else. It was just the conversation of, we got this, do the treatment, because you could visibly see within a matter of weeks from it, and like looking through our photos, that there was nothing, and then all of a sudden there was something.
I would have probably paid 100 grand for that CT scan. Right.
That
It's almost like that's how they get you, because
on that hope of doing something, but also he was 10 years old. Like
I wasn't even factoring
at
that
that
in either.
age of a boxer, you kind of go, okay, like, do we really want to put him through that treatment at this point in his life? Like, is that worth it? But, for us, we're sitting here going, well, we give all these other dogs hope. How are we not going to do this for our own personal dog?
But they got me.
And then the hard part too, which I think sent you through the roof, was then the doctor wouldn't even get on the phone with us afterwards to explain the diagnosis. It was just, it's in his brain.
It's like they
See
took
ya.
your money and
Yeah.
And ran.
And it's like,
And I
hold
don't-
on a second, slow down here.
I was so frustrated.
And
I
tell
don't-
me,
yeah.
like, what this means. Like, how much time does he have left? Is this he's in so much pain and we got to do it quickly? Or is it, we at least have a couple days to give a proper goodbye? Like, they did not care at all.
No, they didn't care. I won't name the doctor because I think also he's not winning. Like, if he normally would have seen 5 clients in a day, now he's having to see 100. And so when he heard how upset I was,
Sorry, can you tell that we're upset?
when he heard how upset I was, he slowed down and he said, I would prepare. Like, if it were me, I would just be there for your dog, and it's gonna run its course. And
so I've been going around talking to the veterinary schools.
yeah,
Okay.
And when I talk to the deans, when I talk to the students,
yeah,
I tell people very directly that we have a communication problem in my field. And the exact scenario you guys are describing, that could have been handled better if at certain points along the way, the vet would have said, look, let's have like a come to Jesus here.
Right.
Let's
Yeah.
have a heart to heart.
Right.
And let's be realistic and pragmatic on the possible outcome,
Yeah.
the cost, your budget.
Yep.
Because again, when you're talking about a 10-year-old boxer who has cancer that's likely metastasized,
Yeah.
and you're trying to get a few months, maybe a year,
Yeah.
maybe 2, I don't know, you start to do the math. Is that worth it to you guys?
Yeah.
He's going to go through X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Right.
It may have already spread.
Yeah.
He's already suffering. Let's sit down and think this through. But there are so many vets that are in a rush to like get the diagnosis. Got it.
Yeah.
Here's the treatment. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And they haven't really considered your position, your situation. I'm talking financial
Yeah.
Right.
and the emotional.
Yeah.
And there's a whole lot of, obviously a whole lot of things going on, but I think, the younger vets, I impress this on them as hard as I can. You have to remember a time when you were broke with your dog in college, and we've all been there.
Yeah, we have, haven't we?
We've
Yeah.
all been there, and specifically vets who've had that moment where it's like, I can't afford to do this with
It's
my own dog.
Probably why they're a vet. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like I need some like grace, or I need some charity, or I'm gonna have to go borrow money. But in that moment, if you were talking to the vet, what would you want them to tell you? If you could go back 15 years and have that conversation again, like how would you want to be spoken to?
Yeah.
And I just want them to remember that, because it's like the money and the time. And again, hearing your story,
Yeah.
there were, it sounds like 2 or 3 places where they could have stopped you and had you think through it a little more carefully.
Yep.
Without making you feel like at the end of it all, it's like, you just took my money and ran.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I just put that card down so fast. You just beep, like take my money, keep my dog, but, or let me keep my dog. But I think you're right where the money right there is to the PE fund. Yeah. I don't think he is collecting a bunch of funds going, yeah, gotcha. Anyways, let's talk about something else. That sucks.
Yeah, it is a downer, man. Look, as an emergency vet, I've crossed that road many times where someone comes in, dog's been hit by a car, and it's going to be $15,000 to patch him up. And it's an old dog that already had 3 chronic issues and heart disease. And I sit him down and say, let's just think this through.
Yeah, that's
right.
good. We've been on the other side too, where we've been with vets and they have done that. Like with our dog, Kobe, he is blind. He's got neurological issues. How do we explain it so we don't sound like silly guys to Dr. Kwan here?
Well, I feel like we're going to sound silly no matter what.
Okay, bear with me. So my car's making this sound. I'm not kidding. So
What time is it?
yeah. You're like, oh, the coffee's cold. Only half of his heart works. So one side is beating and the other side wasn't. It was failing. So it's just like a pass now. So his heart beats really fast and it just kind of circulates. When he was like 6 months old, and we went in, and the VCA specialist, the cardiologist said, no shot. Like, I said, okay, but if money wasn't an object,
Yeah.
would you do it? And he's like, I would love to, because I've never done anything. Like, yes, I would, but
Not many people will accept this risk because they said even with the surgery, he would likely only live like another
let's
month
give
or
him
2.
6 months. He's a Kwane Corso. He's going to get really big, really fast. The heart's not going to keep up. And we said, well, we're doing this for a rescue. We've already raised the funds because we didn't know this. And so people would like us to try. And what do we have to lose? And he goes, okay, great. So he did it and it worked. And this dude is almost 6 years old now. When we went, it's like, that's the testament of dogs, where I don't know how his heart is still beating, but it is. And I mean, we've been really good at keeping him calm, and like he can't go run on the beach, or like he'd literally have a heart attack.
Well, we don't even really introduce him to other dogs anymore, because the last time we introduced him to one of our foster dogs, he got so excited and couldn't calm down for the rest of the day. We were like, oh my gosh, is today going to be the day that he goes? Because he was so excited to meet a dog.
But
and
there's that other side too, where veterinarians have been so good and so empathetic and so realistic in the outcome.
Yeah.
And against all odds, they've been really excited about winning. And Kobe, and like when we took him back a couple of years ago, I was like, well, what do you think? How long? And he's like, 5. And I was like, he's gonna live till 5? He's like, no, I think like 5 more years, and he was just as giddy, if not more than me. And I guess I never really thought about it this way, because when you think of a doctor or a veterinarian or a dentist, you think it's someone who's very smart, very calculated, really thinks through things. But you're right, you can't go into that field without a tremendous heart, because on the days where things just don't add up, or there doesn't seem to be any hope left, if you don't have that heart, how do you go back the next day?
Yeah. Yeah, those are the days where you sometimes you take that victory home and you feel so proud that you're a vet, and then other days you're like, I don't know how much longer I can do this,
Yeah.
because there is this like seesaw of hope and pocketbook. I
Yes.
mean, the other industries, you have insurance for the most part, and so they're not always having to think through the budgetary implications.
Right.
Right.
Like, let me just sit over here, like the client, for a second and think about what they can and can't afford.
Right.
They don't really have to do that calculus. And so, yeah, that makes it hard when it's like, do you want to do everything?
Yeah.
And I don't want you to have any regrets later and say, I should have, or man, what if we could have saved, and what if we could have got another year?
Yeah.
But then again, there's like you said, it's like, well, if I would have known I was 10 grand in, I would have got weeks left, I wouldn't have done that. But as a vet, those are the ones I take home, and it's hard. It's like, I'm not a financial guy.
Right.
I didn't go to business school, and why I shouldn't have to consider, but you do. And it gets convoluted sometimes.
Yeah.
There aren't enough vets now. What are we going to do about that?
Well, we have more vet schools opening.
Okay, that's
I
good.
think 5 in the next 4 years.
Okay.
They're going to try and take on more students, so classes are going to be bigger, but
Right.
we're still behind.
There's going to be a gap, huh?
There's still a gap. CSU, so my old veterinary school, is trying to do something pretty innovative and create something called mid-level practitioner.
Okay.
It's sort of like a PA, I guess.
Okay, that's smart.
Yeah, where they
Above a vet tech?
above a vet tech,
Okay.
and
Or not above, but like,
yeah, it's
yes,
sort of in the
step
middle
up
as far
in
as
the middle.
education
Okay,
and
yep.
training, and can do more, can do things like anesthesia and some surgical procedures, and start kicking those out, because otherwise, what you end up doing anyways is turning over some of these duties to a vet tech who maybe haven't been properly trained.
Okay, yeah. CNN Hero of the Year award. You're standing up there. You get an award. There are 10 people in this group, and you say, I would like to give the award to all of the candidates up here. Is that right?
Yeah, the prize money, I ended up splitting. I have this look on my face because I think I blacked out when I went up there.
You're like,
Like,
now I need it.
and I did pay the money. I did get one negative comment.
Of
And I, but she said, look, when we donate to you, I voted for you so you would keep the money and go out and
Okay.
treat the dog. And she was fair to say that. But yeah, they gave me, as the winner, it was $100,000 prize.
Wow.
And I just split it with the other 9 finalists. So it was 10,000 apiece to everybody.
That's pretty cool.
And I just thought that felt like the right thing to do. I don't know. I'd
Yeah.
gotten to know these people over the course of 3 days, and they were just amazing people.
Yeah.
Like feeding the hungry in Africa and driving, cancer patients on a reservation who couldn't get to their cancer care, driving them and
Wow.
facilitating them. So this grassroots, really important work. I just wanted to split it.
I think it made more of an impact than if you would have just kept the money. I think more people saw it, more people connected with it.
Or people actually donated afterwards.
Yeah.
I returned to San Diego 2 days later, and someone wrote a check for $100,000.
Wow.
See, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it's rising tides, isn't it? It's like, I've never been in a situation where you can't give, you're out of giving, where you go, well, I already gave that, I can't give over here. Like it rising tides for sure. How can people support you now?
We're running on donations like any charity.
Yeah.
And
Not like any charity. You're doing some really amazing work. So they can go to projectstreetvet.org, donate.
donate.
Is there a donate button on your Instagram?
That's a good question.
We need to get a
I am
donate
so
button on your Instagram.
like, this is sad. I'm so Instagram ignorant.
Yeah.
And it really does keep my charity afloat in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
It's how I bring on new veterinarians. And everyone should know that all my veterinarians, vet techs around the country, including me and myself, we volunteer our time.
That's cool.
So really, as much of the money that comes in as we can push it towards the treatment of the dogs, and understand that some cases are $15.
Yeah.
I'm just doing vaccines and a flea treatment.
Right.
But there are dogs who have cancer or have an obstruction or are trying to push out her babies and she can't, and they're stuck, and we get her into surgery, and that's a $10,000 bill. We cover all the costs. And so we really try and hold in reserve as much money as we can for the pets. And we're all proud to volunteer our time. We say it's for passion, not for pay, that we do this.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're proud of that. So I'll continue to volunteer my time.
Would you say the biggest challenge to what you're doing is fundraising, or what other challenges do you face to help these people?
It's fundraising, because my dream, if I can get into the 15 largest cities in the country, and I'm in about 6 right now, I will account for 75% of the homeless population and their pets. So that's my goal, is to get to city 15. So we have about 9 to go. And next year, our plan is to go into Philadelphia, Seattle, and Dallas. So those 3 cities are on the radar for 2026.
About how much money per city do you need? Do you know, like, how it breaks down?
It It breaks down differently based on the vets
I
and the
guess
time they get.
population too.
Yeah,
Oh,
population, the time, and how much they're going out. I have a superstar in Atlanta, and she goes out like she's working full time. She has a special needs kid. She's married, and she's going like 3-4 times a day, putting in
Wow.
like
That's
20
amazing.
hours a week sometimes.
Wow.
And she just goes, and so the more cases she sees, the more of a bill we rack up for the
Okay.
cases
Right.
we're serving. So it varies, but my challenge is for every city I want to go into, it just really increases our budget by X amount because we're going to take on another 200 cases a year.
Right.
And those 200 cases could translate to another 500,000 a year for just one city. So,
Okay.
so yeah, that's the challenging part because I really just want to, people are like, when are you coming to my city?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we need you here.
Yeah.
Our problem here is, and I just tell them I have to do it strategically
Yep.
and methodically because the one thing I don't want to do is announce I'm going to Denver in a year or so. And then we go and we start doing the work and it dries up because I don't have the funds to
Right.
support it. So I make sure, one, I have the human talent, I have enough vets who want to volunteer and do it. And then two, I have enough of a base, a
Yeah.
financial base to stay.
We got to get behind this guy. Let's get the donations going. Hopefully you'll see him or one of his Project Street Vet team members in your city. Anything else you'd want people to know?
No, I think we've covered it. I'm on this speaking tour. I think
Okay.
I've shared this with you.
You didn't you go speak at Mars recently? Like I texted
I was
you,
at
you're
the
like,
Mars Summit. Yeah, it was just very recently, and I'm going around to vet conventions. But the presentation is really just founded in kindness. So I just get up on stage and I just tell my story, much like I have you guys. I have video clips of me in the streets, some very special moments. I show some of those clips, but really just touches on kindness. And so what's happened recently is I've gone from speaking at vet schools, vet colleges, to now speaking at human hospital conventions. And so just a few days ago, I came back from Indiana.
Okay.
And I was speaking at their annual state hospital convention.
Huh.
Human.
Huh.
To come in and talk about what I do. And
Because it's compassion, and that
it's really
carries across any industry.
it's universal.
Right? Yeah.
And I just get my talk about compassion and kindness. And I'll leave you guys with the thing that I usually tell people at the end of this presentation. And this is something that I've heard. And I sometimes just have to think for a second and make sure I get it right because it was very impactful to me. We are here for but a blink to the universe. Our time here is short and limited, and you will be forgotten. You'll actually be lucky if your name is uttered once or twice, just 100 years from now. But he said to me, if you want to be recorded on the fabric of time, the universe does recognize the energy and the vibration of kindness. And that's how you live on. That's how you live on in the stars and you're never forgotten, is by showing your humanity and your kindness. You know where I heard this?
Where?
In the streets. By a homeless man living under a tarp with almost no possessions. He wasn't even wearing a pair of shoes.
Wow.
I helped his dog. She was fine for the most part. It was just a basic skin issue. And as I was about to leave, he shared that with me and he stood up, he gave me a hug and didn't ask for anything else. And I walked away.
Wow.
And I carry that with me in the streets most days. It was almost like I met the Buddha himself living in Skid Row. Here's the funny part to that story. I returned hours later with lunch for him and he was gone. There was no trace of him. Not his tarp, not his dog, not the few things he owned. It was almost like he vanished. And I sometimes wonder if that moment really happened or he even really existed. But that's what he told me. And that's how I remember it.
If there is a greater, that's where they would be. They wouldn't be the person on TV giving the advice or the wealthy person living in a mansion. It would be the person in the streets where, like when you first started and you saw that and that gentleman thanked you for seeing him. It's because you had the ability to take a moment to see someone.
Yeah.
And where I would have just walked by that tarp and gone, oh yeah, I don't have time for this.
Last question. Have you had a soul dog or soul cat in your life?
Yeah. I think every vet would have to answer yes to this. Probably every pet lover, but it was my dog Solomon. He was a Doberman. I got him right out of vet school. I've always had Dobermans my whole life.
I love Dobermans.
I know.
Yeah, they're so sensitive.
Great dogs. Great dogs, Cora.
Sorry, Cora.
Cora's growing on me. But again, that's why she's sort of new and different. I've never.
You're no Doberman.
Yeah, I just out of vet school, and he was just like this big, beautiful black Dobie, and just so in sync with me and loved him. And then he got bone cancer, osteosarcoma, and I think the best part, but the saddest part, is he's probably going on 10. I got to put him down myself in my living room with him, with his head in my lap, and yeah, I was able to just say goodbye my own way with just him and I. And maybe that is one of the special parts about being a vet. I didn't have to take him into an office or didn't have to have a stranger come in.
Good to be there.
I gave him something to sedate him just gently, and he came and laid his head in my lap, and then I just gave him the solution and then said goodbye.
If you wouldn't mind sharing, if he was here for a moment or in that moment, what would you want him to know if he could fully understand you?
Well, I think he knew that I loved him, and he was like my soul dog. We were very close.
What would he say to you?
Probably just thanks, Dad. I love you too.
Give me some more treats.
Yeah, yeah. You'll get those in heaven, buddy.
Yeah.
And I'll see you again one day.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, that's it. I can't handle it anymore.
I know, it's like,
For somebody in this podcast.
It's draining. We're emotionally drained.
Everyone, Dr. Kwane Stewart.
Thank you.
And Cora.
And Cora.
Kelly's always right. Welcome to the Kelly's Always Right segment. My favorite segment, the best segment, because
Because you don't have a choice.
no, because Kelly's always right. My amazing wife is always right. I was gonna say like at least 9 out of 10 times right.
You have your moments.
Once a year. What did we get wrong?
Well, I don't know that we got anything wrong, but there was a part at the beginning of the episode that actually didn't get shown, that we had to cut out because
Oh, that's right. What happened to that when I called you Perky Beans?
yeah.
Hold on. Let's we can play it now. Let's play it now.
Okay.
Because I remember why it makes sense as to why you cut it out, because I worked really hard with the team in putting together Dr. Kwane's story, because he's really amazing. And so from the top, I wanted to share just some of the amazing things that he's doing. So to come off that serious tone and then me have everyone welcome you as my co-host roll the clip.
I'm Rocky Kanaka, and this is Dogs and Coffee. This is my lovely, amazing wife, Perky Beans.
What?
I thought we were coming up with a name because she loves her caffeine and her energy first thing in the morning. I thought that's what we were doing. Were we not coming up for fun names for each other? Did you not tell me to do this?
Oh, that caught me so off guard.
I thought this is what we were doing.
Yes.
I thought you said we were
That's
coming
not
up
what
with
I
fun
said.
names for each other.
That's not what I said. I don't
did you
think you're
say?
listening. I said, okay, I'm going to go and be like, and I'm Kelly Kanaka,
Okay.
and this is the show for dog lovers and coffee drinkers.
I see.
And then over time, it could be like for, I don't know, like crazy dog people and caffeine enthusiasts,
Okay.
or,
Oh, I messed that up. Okay, let me
but-
try again.
what did you call me? Perky coffee beans? That sounds a little inappropriate.
Perky Beans? Perky Beans?
Perky beans.
That's not inappropriate.
I was like, thanks. I'll take it.
I love how we have such a serious episode too coming up, and we're just joking about Perky Beans.
That is pretty funny. You did tee it up. You said we're going to do funny names and this will be a funny thing.
I was saying, like, you know, the podcast for dog lovers and coffee fiends or something like that.
But you said we should introduce each other as funny things, right?
I don't remember.
I don't know, but I was ready for it. I thought this is going to be fun and I'm going to nail it.
Yeah.
We should try to do it more often, but I think it can only
It
happen.
caught me so off guard that I had the giggles. I was like trying to compose myself, and also I was embarrassed.
I am a goody two shoes. Like I grew up going to church and like just very wholesome goody two shoes, right? You're wholesome too, but Kelly grew up, cuss words flying like brothers and just hold on to your shorts. And
Yeah,
so
chaotic.
So sometimes I try to step out of my norm and say just outrageous things to really match her humor, and it's fun. It's fun when I really get her to laugh because it's unexpected. I would like to continue to work with Dr. Kwane and find ways and opportunities to work together. Yeah. Imagine if, we announced the new farm. If you didn't see that, make sure you go see the big announcement video of the new Flip Farms on our main channel. It'll knock your socks off. It's one of the best videos we've put out in years, I think. Well, in a year, exactly.
Since the first one.
Yeah. But how neat would it be to have a clinic
there or have him help us with the dogs there and just share more of what he's doing. Because you see a lot of really neat social clips from him, but it'd be neat to do longer videos that just really showcase the whole journey.
Yeah.
But you guys let us know. Would you like to see more of Dr. Kwan? You want to see less of Dr. Kwan? You want to see less of me and more of Kelly? Let us know. I get it. The real star right here. Podcast is growing. One of the volunteers at the shelter team told me yesterday that on their way home from Thanksgiving, driving home from San Francisco, they downloaded the podcast and they listened to almost every single episode. They just had one more.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And they're like, Kelly is amazing. I love her so much. And I said, see, the world is finding out.
Well, here I am, guys.
You got no shot. She's already mine. So now the moment everyone has been waiting for, our adoptable dog. This week is a very special dog to my heart and to your heart, Pumpkin.
Pumpkin.
Now, Pumpkin has been on quite the journey with us.
Yep.
He started completely shut down, was scared of men. I mean, I couldn't even look at him without him defecating or peeing on himself. It was so sad. And
and then when he got to the farm, anytime you came into the Quonset hut, you'd have to like army crawl in because just Rocky's pure size was scary and threatening and everything. And then
he would flip out if he saw, someone working with us on the farm, an acre away, 2 acres away. If they had a hat on, he would lose it. And I mean, just all the things. But we've been working with him, in credit to one of our team members, Angelica, who's really been taking him out to desensitize him.
Yep.
It paid off. We brought him to the new farm and we were worried because there were dump trucks and tractors running and no. Fine.
Didn't even flinch.
He just looked to us. We were fine, so he was fine.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of my boy.
It's amazing how much of a normal dog he is. Because, I think we've taken other dogs on this journey who have come from similar backgrounds. And
Homer.
Yeah, Homer, like they still have their weird quirks, or you see them kind of get this like look in their eyes like, am I going to do it? Am I going to bolt? Pumpkin doesn't really get that.
I still think when he goes to a new home, he'll regress a little bit. It's kind of like, 1 step back, but he's taken 10 steps forward. So he's still
forward.
That's still
tremendously.
9 steps forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always questioning his math. I'm like, are you sure?
And we got him adopted. And immediately the person was like, I can't do this. I don't want to do this, which was just wild because, one, thank you. We don't have anything against you. But it was wild because they were like, I am this and I am that.
I will
and
never give
perfect.
up.
And we agreed. And we thought this is great. And sometimes you just don't know. But to some extent, it's not always everyone's fault. And the commitment we have at Flip Farms is that you're always safe with us. You always have a home with us, always and forever. We are your always and forever protector. So
yeah.
We brought him back, and it's also taken a while. A lot of great people have applied, but they've been in like New York or Germany, and we need them within a day's driving distance in case we do need to come help support. It doesn't have to be a day's driving distance from us to you. It have to be, we could at least meet in the middle. So that could even be what, as far as maybe some parts of Texas, Colorado, Oregon. Like, it's just both of us would have to, if we drove a whole day, could we meet in the middle?
The person that it didn't work out with was so jarring because it wasn't immediate, this isn't working, he needs to come back. There was no working through the problem. Like, you have to assume that there's going to be an adjustment period. Like we say when a dog comes home from the shelter, there's a 3-3-3 rule, right? Like 3 days to just be okay and relax, and 3 weeks to start kind of learning, and then 3 months to really fully settle.
Yeah.
So you can't expect that a dog coming into a new home on day 1 is going to be the perfect dog. There is a adjustment for any dog.
It's not plugging in a vacuum where it works or it doesn't and you return it to Amazon,
Even our perfect dog, Kobe, he still gets upset when the trash cans get taken out and he barks relentlessly, and he's a blind dog. So there is still always going to be things that you have to work on, like any dog, like any human, like anything in life, right? So
how can you adopt Pumpkin? Well, I'll put the link in the description, or just go to rockykanaka.com and just search for Pumpkin and you'll find him, and fill out the application, and we will reach out and share this because we want to help get this guy adopted. Make sure you subscribe, and we're going to put all of our podcast right here. Just click on the next one, throw it up on the TV and watch it, or just let the podcast roll and listen to them. And we appreciate you, all our dog and coffee lovers.